Welcome to the DFS Express Podcast, your stop for daily fantasy sports talk, including slate breakdowns and industry commentary. Let's go to the host of our show, the Daily Fantasy Sniper.
What's up, everybody? Back again for another episode, special episode on deck. I am here with arguably the hottest player in daily fantasy right now. Depending on where you know him from, you can know him on the leaderboards as Youracnecream, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. And he is DFS Army member, my guy Josh the Realtor. We're just going to call him Josh for the rest of this episode. Josh, how's it going, man? I mean, life's going to be pretty good with this run.
Yeah, it's going great, man. How are you?
I'm doing real good, and just we'll illustrate the hot streak, and we'll see how much you can blush right now. So just in the past, last week in NFL, $6,000 and a King of the Beach ticket. I mean, ho-hum, because the night before that, $23,000 MMA win. Week before that, 2 first places in the big GPP on FanDuel, and then over the summer he took down a NASCAR big GPP and a $50,000 pot in MLB and a $40,000 pot in Major League Baseball. So I got to ask you, this is I'm assuming the biggest hot streak of your DFS, life, career. I want to call it career. That just feels dirty because we're gambling,
Right.
with a little bit of skill mixed in. But just how has this run been? Just kind of talk. It started. You got the one big win. It keeps rolling. Like what is this kind of heater like? Because this is going on 5 months now.
I used to be the single entry guy where I'd put one entry in, and then as soon as I hit big on one, just kind of steamrolled after that because I've been able to max entry a couple of them, and it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I would say so. So before we get talking more about DFS, I got to ask you, I teased it in the open, why Youracnecream? Like,
I wish I had an answer for you. The best I can remember is there used to be a video game where it would generate usernames for you. I think that's where it came from, and it just kind of stuck, but I really have no legit answer for you.
It's really anticlimactic. It was okay.
I tried to come up with something because I knew it was coming up, and I had nothing.
I mean, it's definitely memorable too, and you got the customized avatar now. So I mean, I like it. It's one of those. Okay, good job on the random generator.
Yeah, that's my Photoshop skill.
So you're playing MME now. Are you still playing cash games, or you've just gone straight tournament and kind of riding this wave?
My thought processes go more towards the GPPs than it does the cash, because I do off the wall kind of against the grid kind of thought process. So I do mainly GPPs, not cash.
Well, yeah, if you're going to go off the board, then game theory it is. So this first win, like, do you immediately start doing stuff with the money? And we'll talk, if you're listening for the strategy, we're going to get there. But I'm more interested is to start with, as you get this, this first big hit, you think, oh, great, I got a first big hit. Are you building the bankroll right away? You're putting some away. Then you get a second one. And a third one, you go, shit, I could play some higher volume here. Or you squirreling this money away. Like how do you balance these big, I mean, I would say once in a lifetime hits, but these big hits versus, wanting to play more and wanting to keep going versus, I mean, at some point you got to be financially responsible. So how are you balancing that?
So you're talking bankroll management. Like the first time I hit for 50K, I immediately pulled 45 out and I just left 5 in there to play with. Luckily enough, it never went down to 0 or anything. So I was able to keep playing. And every time that's kind of been my thought process is pull most of it out, leave 5K, and 5K is good enough for me.
I think we'd all agree with that. Now, are you kind of doing the same thing as you keep hitting, or are you letting it build for a little bit, see where you peak? And
no, it literally stays at 5K. It has not changed. I haven't put $1 in DraftKings for a while now.
That is very smart, and I would encourage everybody listening to, you have a big hit, don't just, get to where you want to get to and just keep taking money out if you can when the good days are upon you. That being said, so I should have done this in the open. Got anything? I mean, just an average guy, realtor. You want to plug anything, Twitter, anything like that before we roll along?
No, man. No, I'm good.
I'm gonna plug my stuff, guys. I mean, I have to make sure. So new Twitter name for me, because I'm tired of sounding like a fucking moron, like at the DF Sniper. I took that away. On Twitter at sniper_DFS. Subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast. Appreciate all that. That's all the rambling I'll do, but definitely appreciate that. And actually, more importantly, we're going to talk about some of the tools and strategy Josh used for his big wins. He's wearing it. If you're watching on YouTube, he's wearing the DFS Army hat. Make sure you go to dfsarmy.com. Use the code SNIPER for 20% off your membership. Get all the tools that Josh used for his big wins, along with some strategy. We have cash game guys, more like myself, honestly, GPP guys, and cheat sheets for any sport, one price. Got you covered. So check all that out. And really good segue. So what's kind of your nightly process in terms of how are you using the DFS Army tools?
So Research Station, of course, is always a big thing for me. You want to have as much information as possible when you're doing your research, and the Research Station has been key. And as the cheat sheets, you always look over that. I'm not one of those guys who's locking in a player if I'm max entering. And then as far as the domination station, use that every night, especially when you're max entering. It's the easiest way to generate.
How many lineups do you do? So you covered this. You pretty much max entering. So how do you balance? You said you have these off-the-wall plays. How are you balancing what is on some of the cheat sheets and some of the chalkier plays versus their GPP plays versus where are you getting your own plays from? Because that's the way you win these things, is to be different.
Well, that's exactly it. So anytime it's talked about chalk, that's an automatic fade for me. So if you're looking at someone who's going to be 60% owned, I want no part of it. So if that person is going to shit the bed, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
you're good.
So if someone's going to do badly that night, I just eliminated 60% of the field. It's me versus 40% of the other guys, and that's the way I want it. I'd rather take that risk.
Even with, especially I can think of super chalk in NBA. You got people hurt. There's a starter at 3,300. Are you Xing them out too and going super risky, or in some cases are you going to run them at 70% and get some other plays?
Taking them out.
Doesn't matter how chalky they're going to be.
At the back of the pack or the front. That's what I want.
I like it. That is real aggressive, and that's kind of the definition of game theory. It takes some balls to do that, or bankroll management. You don't have to be max entering. You can max enter the mini max.
Right.
You'll be fine. Same type of strategy. These things apply. In terms of your sports, like I read through your list, you got MLB, MMA, which is close to my heart. NASCAR, NBA. Do you have a favorite? And I guess we'll start with that. Do you have a favorite sport to play?
MLB has been the best for me because a lot of people haven't figured that one out, and I've got that one figured out. I'm very comfortable with MLB.
Okay, when you say you got it figured out, I got to press you now. Like, figured out how, where you're starting.
So mostly you want to stack games. If a team's going to do well, you're going to do well. It's not picking selected players from teams. You want to do a 4-4, 5-3. If I'm max entering, I'm doing 75 at 5-3 and doing 75 at 4-4. So 4 from one team, 4 from the other, 5 from, yeah.
How many, so just for MLB example, how far are you spreading out? You picking 3 or 4 teams to target and running different combinations of the stack? 2 teams, 6 teams? Like, how deep's your pool?
Yeah, so if it's where you've got 12 games on in the night, I'm mainly focusing on 4 or 5 teams, and I spread out the percentages that way. So I do 33% across the board, that kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Other sports. Now you're seeing, so if MLB was the best for you, I assume some of those concepts, what kind of concepts are you seeing as a big GPP player kind of translate outside of just game theory and look for chalk? Is there anything else correlative between sports?
Not with MLB, I don't think. Like NBA, I'm not stacking any players. I honestly go opposite theory for NBA. I select one player from every team. Not one player from every team, but I put a max of one player per team when I'm generating lineups for NBA. Because my theory is if a player's going off, it's one player going off from that team, not a lot. It worked out better when FanDuel was doing the low score going out kind of thing.
Yep.
So I'm kind of relearning with FanDuel. I've kind of switched back over to DraftKings for NBA because I'm more comfortable there. But that's my theory there. So it doesn't correlate for the MLB logic.
How about now? Now I have to ask you about MMA because that's my sport. Are you MMA? Are you fans of all these sports? You kind of fringe and using some of the tools, or have you really kind of just engrossed yourself in all these different sports?
Fans of all the sports. I don't do soccer or NHL just because I'm not fans.
Boo.
Sorry. I got to be able to watch it to enjoy it to see where my money's going. But MMA is actually one of my favorite ones. The 22K hit was Kevin Lee basically just won me the night on that one. Of course, Anderson.
Everybody was on Gregor Gillespie.
And honestly, the logic of fading Gregor Gillespie is what won me on that one. So that everyone was on him. I faded him. The domination station spit out a lot of Kevin Lee, and that worked out well for me.
Yep, absolutely. And then NFL, King of the Beach ticket. I mean, excited for that. Is that your first DFS kind of experience trip somewhere?
So I got a funny story for you. I'm actually going to Florida next week, and I will be in Florida when the contest is going on to find out if I actually made it King of the Beach live final.
Oh, that's right. It's the whole qualifying round, but you're going to be down there anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So it'll be funny. I'll just drive on over to Miami.
So, say you make it, you get the week after, you got somebody you bring, and what are your plans for that? And have you ever been to a live event before?
No. 2019 has just been a crazy year, man. So the 4 years prior when I was doing this, never had the success that I've had this year. So never a live event. As far as bringing someone with me, we'll see who makes the best offer.
You're gonna get tons of DMs in the Slack now. Like, it's gonna be insane.
Is this when I do the Twitter handle?
I mean, just the DFS Army members who know who you are going to be coming after you. So we're into NBA. I guess the question is, we get to this part of the NBA season where you start getting all these crazy injuries, and slate size is the next thing I have written down. Are you attacking GPP more on a larger slate, smaller slate? Are you just playing every day regardless of what the slate is? Or does it matter to you, the slate selection? Do you have to like a slate, or are you just kind of attacking everything individually?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I was looking through before we did this whole interview thing, where have I had the most success? And for NBA, it's been on the smaller slates. I don't know if that's the way I'm building my lineups, because I only do 2 uniques. So I don't know if there's something I need to do bit different for the bigger slates. But the smaller, I attack everything. But the smaller slates, I've had more success. Not sure why, but it's something I need to find out.
It is interesting, and it's smart to kind of see where you're doing well and kind of advance from there. So you're going to keep playing the same contest, or are we going to start seeing you in higher dollar stuff, or are you just going to keep on rolling doing exactly what you're doing?
See, that was a setup question, because we talked prior to this interview. So I dropped a little bit too much money tonight. So I've actually not even checked my phone to see how the lineups are doing. But I entered some high entry ones tonight just because there was a huge layover in the $1,500 entry fee. So we'll see what happens with that.
Layover. I've been guilty of chasing layover before and chasing heaters. I'm not nearly as hot as you, but I'm a little hot in soccer right now, and I chased a little bit, and it worked out. But you never really know how these things are going to go. You gotta ride them while you are hot.
Right.
So you are just I don't want to say regular, but you're a DFS Army VIP member. You're in there talking to all the guys. What is kind of, without my biggest, I guess I could say, issue in some of the general channels we have is there's, and that's why the coaching channels are good. We get more specific talk. But some of the talk in like the NBA room, like it's all scroll so quick and things get lost, and depending where the conversation is, it's a little scattered. So I'm going to kind of channel it. Like, what you've seen other give you a chance to kind of coach here. What is the biggest mistake you think you see some of your fellow members or just DFS players in general making?
Well, since I've been hitting and everything, and I've gotten a lot of people messaging me, and they become so specific on the domination station as far as how they create their lineups. They're asking, what is the system you're using in order to win? And do you do this? Do you do that? There's a lot of tools within the domination station, and I feel like they're using every single one of them. And sometimes it's just you got to trust the data that the DS is spitting out and not make it so specific. Just keep it simple sometimes.
See, what's funny, so sometimes you're saying kind of use what's there. I think people actually, what your thoughts on this, they get too reliant on it. Like, people want to just push a button and get winning lineups. Like, just run the standard. And that'll work sometimes, but in the long run, like, those kind of projections, they're going to be common. They're going to be chalkier lineups. I think people are just, give me 20 lineups, one unique, and just run it. All right. I mean, you might as well just play cash that way. And even then, there are nuances within the slate. You're not making your lineups your own. So I think people need to use the tools, but I don't think they're personalizing them enough. I think they're looking for the quick, easy solution.
All right.
I think I get a lot of, hey, what are you, you know, that's why lineup sellers are successful. Like, we hate lineup sellers in DFS Army. I'd rather teach people how to play. Like, you've talked about game theory and how to build your own lineups. But people want that quick solution. I think, and maybe there could be a subset of people who are overthinking it. So I think there's room on both sides. I tend to get hit with more of just, what's the right answer? The right answer is I'm going to give credit to somebody, different company, but Blenderhead on RG says it. He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter, partially because he's a soccer guy and I've talked soccer with him. But DFS is a big math puzzle to him. It's not so much about the projections and the matchups and the players. Like, when he first started NBA, he had no idea who the players are. It's all math, and getting stuck in projections, I feel like you're losing something there.
Well, maybe that's where my thought process of eliminating the chalky plays and letting the DS do the work has worked out well for me. So I don't get a lot of the chalky plays. I kind of fade them. So when I see the DS spitting out the 70 to 80% ones, I'm taking immediately out anyway. So it's just, I guess, different ways of making money.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you're using the DS, but you kind of get some auto game theory. I had never thought of that. That's actually that goes along with, that's one of the more interesting things I've heard for NBA. I think I'm gonna try that at some point now. It's interesting, like yeah. We had somebody else, I can't remember, a couple of years ago, who the idea of infield outfield stacks in MLB. There's just always different stuff like that. It's different, and things. That's how you win GPPs, and it may not work. GPP, you got to be ready for the roller coaster. So before this run, let me take you before you had all this figured out. What were you kind of doing DFS wise? What what were you playing? What kind of, I would say, good player Josh versus bad player Josh, but pre-hot, pre-run. Because there was a time, I can admit it, before I got into it, where I was awful with DFS. I was just gambling and just whatever. What kind of flipped the switch for you?
Well, it honestly, as sad as it's going to sound, it's getting bankroll that I got. But building it up to that, it was not using the information that everyone else has. So when you go on DraftKings, it says, how is this player doing for this position? That means nothing. It means jack shit, because, like, you can't tell me Giannis Antetokounmpo, he is a small forward. Like, the dude's playing in center. So you got to look. And the good thing about me is I have a short-term memory. I forget anybody's name I met 2 days ago. So for me, every night I had to reevaluate every team and look at the last 3 games, see how they did versus each position, instead of looking at the general stats that everyone sees on these sites.
Got it. Now, so you got a little bit of bankroll now. And we covered how you're approaching it, but are you chasing any more live final stuff? Like, that seems to be the only thing missing from your resume. You got King of the Beach, but you play all these sports. You got NBA live finals to go after. I mean, you said you don't play hockey, so I can't even include that one. So it's really NBA and NFL. You chasing any live final stuff? And
unfortunately, I am tonight.
I knew it.
But it's just hard to, when all the money is in that, when all that money is in that top prize. It's hard, because the money goes away quick unless you hit it. So it's one of those things where I'll try it tonight, but I'm not doing it every night.
Gotcha. How about for the rest of the NFL season? I'm assuming so. You have on days where there's NFL. Are you playing NFL and NBA? Are you playing multiple sports a day? Or you're picking one sport a day and going.
Pick them one sport a day, because when I do research, I'm putting at least 2 hours into it. It's not a quick click and go kind of thing.
Bingo,
so
guys.
I can't I can't comprehend that much in a day. I don't have that much time in a day. So no, it's one sport a day for me.
So you got. So what are you playing tomorrow? Tomorrow's Saturday. Actually, I should preface. I don't know when I'm going to put this out. Hopefully it's tonight. But so on a Saturday you got MMA slate at 11. You have NBA at night. Like what are you doing? I have to ask.
I got season tickets to football tomorrow, so I'll have to wait for the night slate on NBA. Can't do MMA tomorrow. Plus it's all Rush and scrubs tomorrow, so I'll be okay.
Tomorrow's ugly. I don't mind slipping to. I've never seen so many non-wrestling Russians on a slate, but it's gross.
Yeah, so I'm okay missing tomorrow.
Don't blame me at all. All right. I don't have any other questions written down for you. You got anything else? Any other last advice or advice for other people? Just thoughts on this run and kind of what you're looking to do DFS wise moving forward.
The thing I like most about Slack is the amount of people who have messaged me on there and just spitball ideas back and forth. It's just, I have been in the position before where I wasn't hitting either, and the frustration behind it. So it's always nice to talk to other people, throw ideas out there, see what their thought process was. Like even this conversation right here, I've learned some things that I might try differently. So it's always good to just talk to other people and have some ideas. So I appreciate the Slack and the amount of people that have reached out to me.
There's a lot of people in Slack who are, we call them lurkers. Like, get involved, guys. Throw chat, DM. No one's going to say anything crazy negative to you. And if they are, it's talking just DFS Army shop now, guys. If you're not a member, message one of the staff, because there's no place for that. And really, I've seen it a handful of times maybe in my couple of years. So, I mean, don't worry about that. Lurkers, get more involved. And become a DFS Army VIP. I won't go through the whole spiel again, but there's plenty of benefits to it. Josh, thanks a lot for hanging out, talking DFS with me. I love these type of conversations. And just like I picked something up from you, there's no, I've never thought of that, just eliminating chalk and running the DS a little bit with some of my own plays. So there's always something you can learn and pick up. There's no perfect way. We're all still learning. I love to talk about this stuff. So thanks for sitting down. Crazy run you're on. Please keep it going. I want to see you at King of the Beach. I think we've had a couple other people qualify for King of the Beach. So I'm still for $20, I'm playing that entry every week in NFL, and hopefully I'll see you down there. But keep up the good work and stay hot.
Hey, thanks, man.
All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks again to Josh. Good luck in your contest whenever you play next. See you next time.